Dear
Susan, I love you. Why did you turn your back on me?
Right, dear
Don't push me, push a push pop.
George and Luke.
Remember that?
No.
Really?
Don't do what?
Don't push me, push a push pop.
Yeah, I do remember.
There you
that,
go.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Yeah,
look it
I
up.
remember the push pops. Yeah, George, you're full of these veritable little bits of 80s, 90s.
No, I'm
trivia.
not. If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club.
Right, that's a euphemism for something else, George. Listen, dear George and Luke,
Delicious chocolate.
I'm worried.
Oh no, don't be worried. Don't be worried. What can we do for you?
My husband's cheating.
Oh no.
As he keeps messaging his former colleague.
Probably should be worried then. Wait a sec, what do you mean as he keeps messaging his former colleague?
Well, let me get into it.
That doesn't mean he's cheating.
George, we're gonna get to
I think
the
you're manufacturing stories within your head, within your noggin. You're painting pictures in here. You're an artist, dear. You're an artist. You're creating entire stories. You should be a film director. You should write an entire TV series based upon the goings-on within your brain. Now then, what actually happened?
My husband's unusual desire to keep in touch with his former colleague is making me suspicious.
Is it a male colleague or a female colleague? What kind of shenanigans is he up to?
Well, she only worked at his company for a few months, but when she left, my hubby insisted she kept in touch. Right, okay. And I've seen her number on his phone call list. Okay, okay, all right. We've been married for 20 years. Okay, long marriage. Fair play.
Yeah, long.
45. She's 45 and he's 48.
And how old is the colleague?
His ex-colleague is younger, and I don't know her marital status. Right?
Well, maybe there is no marital status.
Or maybe she's not married.
Yeah.
I have no evidence. So the headline is, you've said to us, he's cheating, right? He's cheating. And now you've written here, I have no evidence that he's been cheating on me.
You see? What did I say? I said it right at the beginning. It's your goings on. It's your imaginings. You are a storyteller and you tell the stories to yourself. You know when you like a little kid and like your parents tell you a bedtime story before you go to sleep? You right now are the little kid and the adult and you're telling yourself a bedtime story before you go to sleep, which is, I think my hubby's cheating on me with his ex-colleague. But what's to say you're actually wrong? Maybe, you know, sometimes you do have those thoughts for a reason. Sometimes things are a little bit off kilter. Sometimes you're like, but everything had a certain harmonious balance. Things seemed to be in place. I understood where we stood and things have suddenly changed. Something's unusual. He's not speaking to me like he was. He's not responding like he was. He's not looking me in the eyes in quite the same way. He seems to be somewhere else, and yet he's putting his time and effort and energy and communication into this other person over there who wasn't in the picture some months ago. So I understand why you're feeling a little bit off kilter about the whole thing. So, what word?
So, look, off kilter. That he's been cheating on me, or that... So I have no evidence that he's been cheating on me or that she's even interested. But I don't understand why he seems to care so much about staying in touch. Usually, when one of his colleagues leaves, he just says goodbye and good luck. But on this occasion, he won't leave her alone. George, Luke, can you help? P.S. By the way, love the show, love the scarf.
Wish I could see you both with your clothes off. Well, you can't, right? Because that would mean that you're doing the exact same thing that your husband's doing.
Exactly.
How dare you put such a terrible thought into our minds? We never take our clothes off. They are permanently glued to us. Ever since the day we were born, we were wearing these outfits. Now, so here's the thing. Sometimes when you suspect that in a partner, there are reasons why you suspect it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is because... what I said a second ago, like you got used to things being a certain way and things have changed, and you will pick up on that. You have an awareness of something's happening here, right? Trouble is afoot. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
They call it women's intuition, right? Sometimes.
Women's intuition, which I first learned from April O'Neil in the Ninja, or should I say Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Whew, the things I have to do to get a story.
But just because you do have those thoughts doesn't mean you're actually correct. I admit it's a little bit strange for him to be putting in so much effort, but to be fair, sometimes a guy just has a connection with a woman and he likes the validation. Yeah. He likes to think, oh, I still got it. I still can get interest from like a slightly sexy younger lass. Okay, it makes me feel good about myself. It makes me know, the fruit is still growing on the branches, if that makes sense. Bit of a strange analogy, but I think you get the point. It's like, you don't want to think that you're a withered fruit and no one's interested in having a taste.
They're still ripe enough to be bitten into. The juice
don't
is
bite
still...
into them. Oh my God, Luke.
The grapes, George. The grapes. Well, yeah.
No one go biting into the grapes. But anyway,
Like just a little nibble. Anyway,
if you say so, Luke. But anyway, it's sometimes it's just for validation. That said, we can't know for sure what's actually happening. Maybe something is going on, and if that's the case, you kind of really should speak to your partner, and you should say to him, I'm not happy with this. I say this a lot, but the phone is a modern piece of technology, and it essentially allows people to intrude into your home, okay? Your home you've created with you and your partner, that is your safe place, your haven, your bubble, right? That's you and his. And pre this modern phone, the only way that somebody could have got intruded is by actually calling the house phone, and he'd have to sit there on the phone with you in the room.
Or knock on the door.
And that'd be, but then they'd literally come in.
That's what I like to do, George. When I, want to meet someone, I just go...
Chuck a pebble at the window, right? Are you in?
Are
you in? Can I climb up the vine? But anyway, the point is the phone is allowing that person to be in between your relationship. And so you're dealing with essentially something quite unnatural, which is modern technology. And
venomous. Horrible, George.
What is?
Modern technology.
Yeah, some of it.
We're doing this on this old camera here, and don't get me wrong, that's quite good. But the rest of it you can throw it in the bloody ocean.
This is an old camera. We're shooting this on 35mm film. We've got to cut it on Kodak in a second. I think that's what I'm wearing. Look, yeah, there you go. Got this free with the camera I did. Kodak film. Celebrated it because that's what we shoot on.
Keep yourself decent.
But anyway,
start a riot over it.
But the thing is you need to speak to him and you need to say, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't want this happening. You don't want to stress that you're so unbelievably jealous over him just like having a female colleague, because that's not okay. But you want to stress that there are repercussions, okay? At the end of the day, there is always power in both halves of a relationship, meaning you're half of it and he's half of it. Meaning you have a certain degree of power as over him as he has over you. That's just how it is. That's what relationships are like. What you need to remember is if you...
20-year marriage, George.
If you say to him, I'm not happy with that behaviour, and then you let him feel that you're not happy with that behaviour, meaning you actually distance yourself, you do things like, well, you don't sleep with him, right? You don't kiss him, you don't touch him, you give some space, you suddenly disappear, you don't respond to his messages because, you just go out with your girlfriends, you have a bit of fun, go to the cinema, nothing too serious, but you leave him to think, oh my God, where is she? Where is she? He doesn't want to lose you. And if he starts thinking that, texting this ex-colleague means that he might lose you, his wife, then he'll suddenly realize, oh my God, you mean so much more to him than he's giving you credit for. Right now, he's taking you for granted. You've been in his life for almost the majority of his life. He's just like, yeah, you're there. You're like that sofa cushion that is on the sofa that I just assume is going to be there when I sit down, and there it is. I mean, it's horrible to think someone takes you for granted in that way, but there is a little bit of that where you can take someone for granted who just lives with you. So let him know that you're not to be taken for granted, and be like, okay, well, if you're going to text your colleague, toodaloo, me old hubby. Gonna go out now, I am, right? Gonna turn my phone off, and wait and see what happens, because he will, it can in many ways be very healthy for the relationship, because he'll start to appreciate what he actually has. And don't we all need a bit of that, Luke? Don't we all need to learn to appreciate what it is we actually have? Don't you have dozens of books, maybe even hundreds of books on the shelves, and they're just there and you don't even pick them up, you don't read them? Some of the most beautiful literature ever written, some of the most wonderful words ever put down onto paper, ever saved to be passed down into the ions of history, and you just ignore them. They just sit there, you're like, oh, I want something else, I want something new to put on the shelf. I'm thinking of changing that wallpaper. And you don't notice that in front of the wallpaper, all of these wonderful books or films or songs or whatever. You just take it all for granted. But there's one way to make people not take things for granted, and that is to take it away. If somebody came into your house and just picked up all the books and walked off with them, you might be like, I want them back, what are you doing? And then you start to appreciate them.
I would not be happy, George. I would not be happy. If someone came in here right now and took my 50th anniversary edition of WEC World Extreme Championship Wrestling, yeah, almanac.
Then you'd have to wrestle with him and go,
I-
I'm going to show you what that means to me. I'm going to get all Bret Hart on you.
George, that's my favourite book of all
I'm
time.
going to Hulk Hogan you with my bare arms. So anyway, yeah, let him know how special, wonderful you are by distancing yourself, and let him know you're not happy with it, and then he might actually respond in turn by saying, okay, I'll cut this off. But I really firmly think the phone lets people into relationships that shouldn't be sandwiched between you, and it is important to cut certain people out. It is important for you as a wife to say, okay, anyone I find myself attracted to, that'll happen, but I don't need to stay in touch with them. I don't need them in the bed with me, like someone I can literally text while in bed while my husband's lying next to me. You don't do that by not swapping numbers or by deleting them off your phone or blocking them. For the good of your marriage and your future, it's a very healthy thing to do, and you should encourage him to do it as well, because otherwise it's just... Can you think of an analogy?
This is the thing, George. Look, say for example you're in a relationship, right? You're in a relationship with a woman. You've been together for a few years, right? You happen to meet someone else. You have there's a connection between. You can feel that connection. There's a little bit of a connection there.
A little bit?
All right, there's a lot of a connection there.
You're
right?
married.
No,
I suppose
with
you've got a
someone
little bit of a
else.
thing. Oh, okay, I see. What you mean.
And then
Right.
but you make a conscious decision, right? You're like, well, look, there's a connection between me and this person. Obviously, I'm going to nip this in the bud, because obviously, if I keep, going down this road, it could
Nip it in the butt.
Well, it could
Give it a last pinch.
it could end up going more than just a pinch. Do you know what I mean, George? Hey, I thought you said no biting. So for that reason,
Not the grapes, Luke.
for that
But the
reason,
peaches.
well, I'd say, yeah, I can understand why you're upset. I'd say, you've got no evidence to show, as you've already said, that he's cheating. So he's not necessarily cheating, but the fact that he's taken this line is a little bit disrespectful, I'd say, to be honest. You guys are together. You've been together for many, many years. You're an established couple, married together. I feel like, yeah, you need to make it clear, as George said, that you're not happy about it. And he should respect that at the end of the day. He should respect that. Because if it was vice versa, I feel like if you were like, Leah, I met this guy. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's a cool guy. We're going to stay in touch. We're going to go out. I'm sure he wouldn't be happy about it, to be honest. And so I think you just need to put your foot down a little bit and say how you feel. And hopefully he'll get the picture. Because he needs to get the picture. Otherwise, send me and George round, right? We'll have a word with him. We'll give him a good talking to, right? And we'll make it very clear.
As opposed to a good seeing to, which is your job. The thing about temptation, right,
Temptation.
is that sometimes when it comes to life, it's important to know what things to bring in. So,
So for example, to give you an analogy, in my kitchen, right, George, and George will know all about this, right? There's no chocolate bars, right? There's no sweets, right? There's no sugary treats, right?
This is the exact analogy I was
Do you know
about to
what?
give,
Well,
so.
of course you would, but we read each other's minds, George. We're in harmony. We're a harmonic vibration. You know that, George.
Keep going.
And you see, look, George, when he comes over to my house, right, he always has to bring in these goodies, right? He always has to bring in some jelly babies, yeah, some chocolate
Not jelly
milk.
babies,
Well,
Luke.
it might as well be.
Like jelly
It's all the
babies.
same, isn't it? Those kind of
Jelly
weird-
babies are too sweet.
Those kind of sweets, right? And I'm
Other products are available.
like, that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, gummy bears. George, do you have to keep bringing over gummy bears?
Don't bring gummy bears. I brought
George,
fruit
Yeah,
pastels,
that's the one.
and I
he always-
brought some Cadbury's buttons,
And I know, look, as a human being, right?
and they were delicious.
They are. They taste nice, right? Sugar tastes nice. That's a fact, right? That's why we're attracted. That's why people get addicted to sugar. I love it, right? But guess what, guys? That's why I avoid it. I don't have it in my house, yeah? Because that means I'm not going to eat it. And the way I see it, he should stop trying to bring this lady into your kitchen because she's raiding your fridge, right? And he needs to get rid of her, right? Because your fridge is an only place for you and your husband. Is that what you're going to say, George?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Let's try and simplify it a little bit.
That was simple as fuck.
Sort of, but
Get her out of your fridge, love.
But so what you're saying? Let me try to break it down a little bit more simple.
Break it down. Break down.
Essentially, let's say in order to have a nice, healthy, balanced life, you go
But healthy, balanced diet, because we're using the analogy.
right. You have in your fridge fruits, vegetables, nice, healthy food,
Some
right?
nuts, some seeds.
And let's say
maybe some fish.
you're somebody like you're a diabetic, and the worst thing you could have is someone just goes, here's a giant chocolate cake with lots of whipped cream and lots of honey.
Sounds
and
like
I'm
your
just
dream,
I'm just
George.
going to put it right here in the center of your fridge.
Yeah.
Right? So here's all your vegetables and there's your eggs and stuff. Oh, but there's that chocolate
What would
cake.
you eat first,
right?
George? What would you eat first?
The point is every time you open the fridge, there's that chocolate cake.
It's just there.
Right? That can't be eaten.
Oh, God.
But it's there.
But you're going to have a bite, aren't you, George?
Well, maybe.
Eventually.
But the fact is, even if you don't have a bite,
So tempting.
you will be happier if it's just not there. Like you're
rid of
happy
it.
if you just get rid of it. And the temptation is an unnecessary thing to bring in, because sometimes like it doesn't allow you any peace of mind, and therefore it doesn't really allow you any happiness. And bringing somebody into your relationship in regards to the phone it's creating the same thing. This other woman is the chocolate cake, and you're thinking, well, he's tempted, which is true. But if you can make it clear to him that this is what he's bringing in, and he's ultimately going to suffer as well,
Sure.
because it's like you're bringing in a temptation. Guess what? Stress to him, and this is very real. Like, you're a woman, you could go out on any day of the week and meet some guy.
Yeah.
You could be like, look, I get tempted all the time. Men still look at me, they still flirt with me, they still want to chat me up. And the temptations are real, but I turn my back on it because I know that ultimately that's going to lead to a problem. Either way, get rid of the chocolate cake. And it's unnecessary to have certain things in there. So yeah, get it out of the fridge and focus on all the things that ultimately
Send it
lead
to,
to a
send
more
it to
beneficial life.
us. Send it to George. He loves a slice of chocolate cake. Bring the cream as well. Well, maybe I'll... Anyway.
I'll provide the cream.
You can say.
Don't worry about it.
Right.
Provided. Anyway, so there you go. Let him know. Let him stop taking you for granted by getting out into the world and ignore him a bit. Give him a bit of silent treatment. Have a sit down with him. Tell him that you want that disconnected off the phone. You don't want him to. It's disrespectful to you. And if he continues to do it, well, turn around, walk away, and let him start to realise. Hang on a sec. Let him chase you a bit, and then he'll realise you are ultimately, you are the person he's been married to, and let him realise what he actually has by giving him a bit of space and having a word. There you go.
Have a word. Right. Problem.
Hey, you there, I've got some really exciting special news. If you're interested in all the kind of things that we talked about in that video just there, you're gonna love this. There it is, look at that. It's written by me. It's called A Cure for Loneliness, as you can see right there. And I spent about a year of my life writing it to make sure that it would be good and fun and accurate and entertaining and all those things that make something, worthwhile. And I'm extremely excited to say that people have actually responded really well, and they've been reading it all over the world. I've gotten reviews from people who say that they've read it twice. Somebody actually wrote to me recently to say that he'd read it 3 times. I was flattered if anyone had read it once, but to read it 3 times. Some excerpts of things that people have written to me about it are, it's a great and fun read, not the tedious intellectual kind. For me personally, this was a reminder that reading can be an awesome pastime. A lot of books are boring as fuck, but not this one. Thanks very much. And anyway, those are only the first responses that I got. Quite recently, somebody wrote to me from China and said that he's now in a relationship with a girl he met on a train, all he says, because he read this book, and he said that it inspired him to go over to a girl that he liked on a train, yes, a public train, and start speaking to her. And now he says they are in a relationship and it is going well. So, if that kind of thing interests you, or maybe you're just interested in the kind of psychology that, we talk about on these videos, you're going to get a lot of it in depth, including my own experiences and how I kind of came to learn all of this stuff and reach this place myself. You're going to get all those stories within this. It's fantastic. Trust me, it's the best book you're ever going to read in your entire life. I wouldn't put a year of my life into writing something worthless, would I? So, jump in, have fun. You can find it on amazon.com.co.uk, any Amazon, even the Amazon jungle. It's only about $10, I think it's $8.99, something like that, with free shipping. So crack on, have some fun, and let me know what you think. Till next time, bye.